I don't think we need any props today. If you have a cushion, that might be nice. Step your legs out a little bit wider. Try bending your knees and sweeping your arms up as you take a deep inhale. Lifting up and then exhaling, bending your knees. And try that again. And one more time. Now come to a little bit past the center of your mat. And you can have a hand at the wall for this if you like, which means if you're not on your mat, that's totally fine, wherever you need to be. But begin by lifting your left knee up, opening it out to the side, and taking a big controlled step out to the side. And then come back and do that one more time. Big round arc with your knee, stepping out as controlled as you can, and then come back and do that one more time. Big, slow, controlled arc, landing as softly as you can, and then coming back. Now try that on the other side. So you're grounding through your left leg, right leg, taking that big step, and then coming back 2 more times. Come back to the first side. And this time, do the same thing, only use some momentum. So big step out and then come back. It'll be faster, more dynamic. Do that about 3 times. And then try it on the other side. And notice, what is the difference between this big dynamic step and that slow and controlled step? A lot of times, using momentum makes things a little easier. Now, as you're ready, take your time finishing that up and come to the right side of your mat. I'm going to step in a little because I don't have a lot of space here. And again, if you want to place a hand at a wall, which may mean you're off your mat, that's totally fine. We're going to go through a little flow here. So begin by lifting your arms, grasping your right wrist in your left hand, stretching up through both sides, and then leaning towards the center of your mat, getting a side stretch. This is crescent stretch here. Aiming to keep your chest open and feel that stretch through your right side. You might even jut your hips out towards the right. And then come back to center and sit back into chair. Your feet could be together or apart. Arms might be lifted up. They might be forward. They might be in Anjali Mudra, palms pressing together. What feels right to you today? When you're ready, lift yourself up and take a big step towards the center of your mat. Come into a wide-legged stance. Aim your toes out at an angle and sink into goddess pose. And you might try bending down into goddess, lifting up, stretching your limbs just a couple of times. Taking some deep breaths. Maybe settling in goddess for a moment. And then step your right foot to reach your left. And you might do that in one step, you might do it in a couple. Pause in mountain. Notice how that felt the first time through. We're going to do that on this side too. So when you're ready, sweep your arms up, grab your left wrist in your right hand, stretch up through your sides, lean towards the center of your mat, maybe jutting your hips out towards the outer edge of your mat. Really breathing through the stretch. Come back to center and sit into chair. Your version of chair, whatever that is today. And today it might be different from it was yesterday or last week. It might be different from it was the way it was the time you did it on the other side of your mat just now. And that's fine. Lift yourself back up and take a big step towards the center. Big, wide step. Aim your toes out at an angle. Come into goddess. Your choice of moving into and out of goddess or settling in and holding still. And then when you're ready, straighten through your legs, get a little buoyant in your knees, and take as many steps as you need to reach your left foot to your right and come into mountain. We're going to go through that again with a couple more options to choose from. So notice how that went for you. Take a moment to breathe. And as you're ready, lift your arms up. Take your right wrist in your left hand. Come into crescent. Come back up straight and sit into chair. This time, you can do whatever version of chair you like. And another option would be to ground down through your right foot, lift your left ankle, bring it over your right knee, keeping a flex in that left leg for a figure four chair. Whatever version you're in, can you breathe pretty freely? Then lift yourself up and step out into your wide legged stance. Turn your toes out, find goddess. And again, it can be any version of goddess. And one thing you might consider would be settling into goddess and then dropping your right hand to your right knee, stretching up through your left arm for a side stretch. And then reversing arms for a side stretch on the other side. And come back to center and step your way to the other side of your mat. Pause in mountain. And when you're ready, we'll go through that again. So reaching up, left wrist in right hand, leaning towards the center of your mat with your arms, jutting your hip out to the side, away from the center. Come back to center and find your version of chair pose, whatever that is today on this side right now. And really accepting whatever version of chair you've chosen that works for you, not grasping for a different version of reality, but accepting the one that you're in right now and breathing through it. Maybe wobbling through it if you're me. When you're ready, you can come back up and step into your big wide stance. finding goddess, and your choice of anything we've done so far, or anything else you feel like doing. So it might be that you try these side stretches. It might be that you try a twist or you come into and out of goddess. Really checking in and seeing like what works for you today. What is your version of goddess, of Kata Konasana? And once that's complete, stepping over to the other side, finding mountain, really settling for a moment and noticing. You might close your eyes, you might take a couple of deep breaths, really noticing how are you feeling?